What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Paul the Plant Parent here with a video on the easiest plants to transfer from soil to water culture for me. Doesn't mean everybody's gonna have the same luck or results, but these are the plants that I'm gonna go through that were the easiest. Either I unpotted them, cleaned up the roots really well, put it into the water, and they transitioned without an issue, or the issues were minimal. I'm also going to give you a tip of what I've been doing, particularly for my Calathea, and plants in that family, but all plants can benefit from this. All right, so let's start. These are in no particular order now, so it's not like the first ones I show you are the easiest or the hardest out of this group. They're all pretty much, I had the same success with all of these. I would say almost equally, but not 100%. Anyway, no surprise to anybody, the Tradescantia, wandering dude, inch plant, these guys notoriously can live in water forever. And you can either transfer them from soil, or like this one here, you could just take cuttings, put them into the water, and they'll start growing roots within about 4 to 5 days, I'd say, to a week. This one's been in here for maybe a month or two, probably a month. And look at the roots on that, it's beautiful. Everything applies as you would with growing them in soil. So for these guys, bright light will bring out the colors, prune them back if you want them to be bushier, otherwise they'll trail all over the place. And yeah, all of the Tradescantias that I have tried, except for, there have been a couple. Blushing Bride seems to be a little bit tricky for some reason, even with just cuttings. I don't know why. I don't know what it is with that. And the Nanook sometimes gives me a challenge. I've noticed that for both of those, and with all these plants that you see here, supplementing with bright light, I'd say using an LED bulb more than the natural light. You can use natural light if it's not direct sunlight, but bright light definitely helps them get through any transitional period that they may go through. But yeah, that's all there is to it. And okay, we'll move on to the next one. Next is any variety of Cissus. These are the, I don't know what you would call them, Cissus discolor. They also, part of this family is the Rex begonia vine. This one is the oak leaf Cissus. They're in the grape family, and they root very easily from cuttings, but you can also transition them from soil. As you can see, this one here, those were originally soil roots, and this one has already begun to transition. Haven't had it in here for that long, but it is it's doing just fine. And for these guys in particular, you can tell if they're doing well because the new growth, if they're not doing well, will start to crisp up. Like the unfurled leaves will start to get crispy if something's wrong, because any new growth, if you see new growth dying, it means there's an issue with the roots. That's even with root rot in soil, anything like that. So if the roots are not functioning properly because they're in water culture and they're kind of in shock, you'll get dieback on the new growth. But again, that's with any plant in soil or in water culture. So Cissus does really well. Yeah, I have multiple varieties. I have maybe 5 or 6 varieties of Cissus in water culture right now, and they're all doing fantastic. Okay, here's a little bit of a shocker. This may be a little bit of a shocker for you. I can't remember if this is, I know this is Senecio, which are typically succulents in a lot of cases. I think this is Obovoda, and then there's another name after that, I can't remember, but this Senecio, they want to root. So if you stick branches, you can look at those roots that already grew out. If you stick branches, after they've calloused over, of course, you want the ends to dry up. You stick them in water and they will just root all over the place. You can see this one roots from the cut end, but they will also root anywhere along that stem. It doesn't even have to be at a node. Obviously, nodes tend to have more rooting hormone in them for a lot of plants, but these guys, right at the cut end is totally fine for them, as you can see. And it's already started to sprout where I took cuttings off of the cuttings. So no issues here. There's a dried up leaf here I can get rid of. But yeah, it's kind of like a gangly, unusual looking plant. But it was such a long trailing plant when I had gotten the mother plant. I said, I need to take cuttings of this and I need to put them in water. Because, you know, that's my thing. Water culture. Water culture rocks. Anyway. So yes, many varieties of Senecio will do fine in water. Next up, no surprise to anybody, but Chinese evergreens, Aglaonema, they love growing in water. Just like peace lilies, I only have one peace lily at the moment, but they are extremely easy to acclimate or to root in water. Look at those roots. These are beautiful. This one was a transfer from soil. So you can see soil roots were very clean. I cleaned them really well, and they clean up pretty easily. There aren't that many feeder roots coming off of the main root, so it's easier to keep them clean or to get them clean before you put them into water culture. But the plant is loving it. It's got new growth. There's a new leaf there. And yeah, and these guys here, also Aglaonema. This one is 3 different varieties. No, 4 different varieties. No, 3. I have the red emerald. I think this is the snow queen, snow white, snow queen, something like that. And this one is either wishes or some other type of Valentine red something. But yeah, they do just fine. Look at those roots. So happy in water culture. Moving on to another that is no surprise to anybody. This was a rescue. It was dying. It was in soil. It wasn't watered at the store, so it was on clearance. You can see it's braided. This is Dracaena, also known as lucky bamboo by people that call them that. Dracaena, any type of Dracaena, are very, very easy to root or grow in water. Since these were in soil, I had to clean up the roots really well. You can see there's just a little bit of soil still in there, but I've been making sure that this water stays clean so the plant has not suffered in any way. And we also got new growth. So the plant is doing just fine in water, as most people grow them in water anyway. Yeah, but I also have transferred and grown cuttings of multiple different varieties of Dracaena, including the corn plant, so many different varieties. I can't remember them on the top of my head right now, but also Janet Craig, I have a little cutting in water. So yeah, most Dracaena, if not all, do absolutely fine transferring from soil or starting fresh cuttings in water. Okay, here's another one that's no surprise to anybody, Pothos. Okay, this Pothos is the neon. It has been growing in water culture for quite some time. It's been a long time, actually. It's started trailing out all over the place. I'm gonna have to take cuttings of these. The roots are very, very happy in here. So you can see they're taking on the shape of the cup, the glass that I have them in. Very thirsty plant because it's in such a small container. The water's down to here now. I have to raise it all the way up. And I think I watered it just a few days ago. So if you don't want to have to continuously water your water culture plants, just give them a bigger vase, that's all. It's not like with soil where if you give them a bigger pot, it retains too much water, you can get root rot. No, with water culture, give them as big of a vase as you want. It'll only benefit the plant, whether it's because it has more room to grow, you don't have to water as much, or there's more oxygen in that water to keep the plant happy for longer. Right, easy, easy, easy. Again, taking cuttings of the Pothos seemed to be the easiest way to grow in water, but this particular plant was originally in soil, and I cleaned off the roots really well, and it did not hiccup at all. It doesn't get enough light, so the leaves aren't exactly as healthy, and I also haven't been regularly watering this, so I can see some deficiency here. I mean, not watering, fertilizing. So there is some deficiency. Some of the leaves are curling a little bit, so I'm gonna have to get on top of this one, but otherwise, the plant is doing just fine. Okay, another one that is to no surprise, most types of Philodendron. I think this is Imperial Green. I don't think it was labeled when I got it, but I'm pretty sure it's Imperial Green. New leaf, growth point, It's been in water. This one gets neglected a lot. It's in an area that I don't visit very often. And by visit, I mean walk past. But you can even see there are some pups growing off of the main plant or one of the roots there. So this plant has been thriving just fine. It got stunted for a little while because there were a few times that I had forgotten about it. The water completely dried up. The plant was still alive, but it just kind of stopped. It halted. So, you know, that can happen if you don't take good care of your plants. But I promise I've been doing better. All right, let's move these guys away. And the last two are in the same family, and I've done videos on them recently, so I know you guys have seen them if you're following. But I have had nothing but success, except for one situation that I believe had fusarium. But yeah, I've had nothing but success with these. This first one, relatively easy. This is the prayer plant, red prayer plant, Maranta. And cuttings and or transferring plants in soil into water culture, they do fine. They don't wilt. They don't show any signs of confusion. This one was in soil, clean up the roots really well. And we've even got new roots growing from a little higher up there. And the plant is throwing out new leaves. These are notoriously fast-growing plants. You can see these are 2 new leaves that came out, the lighter greens. There's one that's about to unfurl. I adore these plants. I adore this family in general, Marantaceae. I adore them. Their leaves are incredible. They grow great in water culture, and they're easy to propagate. And they grow fast. So all of those things, for me, equal perfection. So, and they're non-toxic. They're safe for households that have dogs, cats, things like that. So yeah, I just feel like these plants got it all. They got it all. And if you can get them into water culture, even the most finicky of plants will suddenly become easy. You'll become a pro. Like this one, Calathea or Calathea, however you like to call them. Beautiful, gorgeous leaves. Look at this. This is a Roseopictum, I think. This plant was in soil. I yanked it out, cleaned it up, put it, you can see there's new roots growing already. I just did this on a recent video. Put it into a water, and the plant didn't blink. All of my Calathea, except for one that had fusarium, like I said, have done amazing in water culture. Amazing, amazing, amazing. They're growing roots, they're growing leaves, they're doing their awake asleep leaf movements. There's no issue at all, no issue. We even have a new leaf here that's starting to unfurl. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love these plants. These have become my favorite plant of the moment, because you know that changes from month to month, I'd say. But right now, the Calathea, the Maranta, Tenanthe, all my favorites. And I have them all in water culture. They're growing, and I'm starting to divide them too. So I'm dividing water culture plants into other water culture plants by dividing and taking cuttings as well. So yeah, the thing I wanted to tell you that has been an experiment I was working on, and something that especially for the Calathea, for the Marantaceae family that have issues, also the Dracaenas, because they seem to have a similar reaction. When you use chlorinated water, when you use tap water in particular, you can see the tips are beautiful. They usually get burned tips because I heard that they end up storing those chemicals in the tips of the leaves and they get burned. Let me see if I can find an old leaf to show you. Like this over here. See how there's like little burnt at the tip there? So yeah, I found a solution that seems to be working for me really well. And you don't have to necessarily use this one, but this is water conditioner for aquarium fish, okay? Now what it does is it removes chlorine and chloramine from the water, so, and it's pretty immediate. They say put it in, stir it up, you're good to go. It also, what is the word that they used? It neutralizes, something like that, heavy metals in the water. So plants use nitrates, not nitrites, and I think it neutralizes nitrites and other heavy metals in the water. That's what I was reading. And so you mix it up with your water, and you don't get any burnt tips. Water culture, nothing but water. And I use tap water. I use tap water. And it makes a huge difference, as you can see. All of these plants, especially all the new leaves that you can see that have been in my care, the new leaves I mean, are beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Even the Dracaena, which notoriously I had to cut some of the older leaves because they were all dried up. See, I started to cut them, but all the new leaves, all the new growth has perfect leaves. Okay, so I definitely recommend using the water conditioner for freshwater aquariums. The one that I happen to use is the Beta H2O for betta fish, Betta splendens. Those are the labyrinth fish that people have in like little fish bowls. Really pretty fish. But yeah, I tested this out. I started testing it out. Oh God, it's been, I'd say over a month at this point, maybe longer. And immediately, it was not that I saw immediate results, but there were absolutely no issues with the chlorine, with the tips of the leaves, with transferring to water culture. Because, you know, sometimes if you have a highly chlorinated water, the plants are going to start freaking out when they put it to water. They're going to suffocate and be like, I can't breathe. So I don't think they sound like that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I recommend at least giving it a shot, see if it works for you, because for me, it works. And particularly I've used the Calathea, in particular I've used them because as a test subject, because Calathea notoriously have that issue with the water quality. And I was not about to go out and get distilled water every couple weeks just so I could water the plants, because, you know, these are in water culture, so I use a lot more water than you would for a soil plant. So yeah, I think I found my solution. I'm going to continue using it and document any issues if anything does come up. But when you think about it, this water conditioner, a lot of times they use peace lilies and Dracaena in aquariums, and if those plants don't have any issues and the water's been treated with these types of products, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I feel like if it's safe to put fish in water like that, it's safe for the plants to grow in water like that. That was my thinking, and I started using it. I started seeing some positive results, and then through searching on the internet, I saw there were other people that had done similar things. So I'm like, all right, I'm not the only one. Anyway, these aren't all the plants I have in water culture, of course. These also are not the only easy transferable plants to water culture, but this table can only hold so many plants. And you know, the majority of my collection are either in water culture or semi-hydro, but this is particularly on water culture because, just my opinion, growing plants in semi-hydro, especially if you're using leca, lava rock, whatever, you can't really see all the roots, right? You can see what comes to the surface or to the edge of your vessel, but you can't see what's going on in there. And if you want to, you gotta unpot the plant, remove all the media, check the roots. This way, with water culture, you can see immediately, the roots aren't doing so good. Something's wrong. Let me take it out, clean them up, and then you can address it before there are any issues, especially any issues showing in the foliage. And these plants are so healthy and lush. Like, they're just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous plants. So if you have any questions on growing your plants in water culture, in water, using tap water, treating the water, reach out. If you have any questions about certain plant families or certain plant types, if I've attempted to grow them in water culture or if I've successfully, ask and we can discuss, because again, this isn't all I got. This is nothing near to all I got. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I've grown African violets in water culture, Rex begonia, all types of begonia, cane begonia. So yeah, again, this is not the only group of easy to transfer, easy to grow plants in water culture, but just reach out and we can discuss. If you have not subscribed, what you waiting for? Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Share with your friends, pass it along, give a thumbs up. I will see you in the next video.